Good morning, Mrs. O's 6th grade LA class. It is a pleasure to be here with you today, even if it is through Zoom. I'm your librarian, Mrs. Young, and I am excited to tell you about 6 novels that I think you are really going to like. The first is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It was a surprise to be called to the principal's office and a shock to see a boy about my age, dressed in a suit, dismiss my principal from his own office with a wave of his hand. "Let me start again." He folded his hands on the desk between us, the thumb of his right hand lightly circling the cufflink on his left wrist. "My name is Grayson Hawthorne. I am here on behalf of McNamara, Ortega & Jones, a Dallas-based law firm representing my grandfather's estate." Grayson's pale eyes met mine. "My grandfather passed away earlier this month." A weighty pause. "His name was Tobias Hawthorne." Grayson studied my reaction, or more accurately, lack thereof. "Does that mean anything to you?" It did not, and little did I suspect I was Tobias Hawthorne's main heir, inheriting almost $4.2 billion, while his family was left all but penniless, and I was left with a target on my back a mile wide. 4 handsome grandsons, 2 angry daughters, and 1 suspiciously friendly niece, all eager to get their hands on the money they thought they'd been promised their entire lives. And getting rid of me wouldn't be difficult. I had to live in the Hawthorne mansion for a year. I'd be all too easy to find. My only chance for survival was to solve the puzzles and mysteries that Tobias had loved so much and had left behind him. I love solving puzzles and mysteries, but when the price of not solving them might be my life? Can any of the heirs solve Tobias's tricky and dangerous puzzles? Will Avery survive their attempts to get rid of her for good? Find out in The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Have you ever had a friendship suddenly and abruptly change? Because that's what happens in Alone in the Woods by Rebecca Behrens. Alex and Jocelyn, or Team Alexalyn, have been best friends for forever, at least since kindergarten. The girls are inseparable, and every August the Allard and Benavides families even spend a week at Allard's Roost, Jocelyn's family's lake camp in the North Woods of Wisconsin. This summer, the summer before 8th grade, everything seems wrong. Ever since Alex came home from a month at Spanish camp, she seems different to Joss. She won't answer Joss's texts, and she hangs out with Laura, a popular kid from school who was also at Spanish camp. And Alex now goes by Lexi. She wouldn't even eat a donut at the annual Paul Bunyan's Cook Shanty logging camp breakfast on the way to the lake cabin. Joss just doesn't understand. It's like her totally fun friend Alex has been replaced by a bikini and nail polish wearing Lexi. To make matters worse, the families have decided to add a rafting trip to the vacation, and Alex is more interested in her phone and texting Laura than tubing with Joss. Joss is also still stinging from the incident during school registration day when Alex, aka Lexi, and Laura unmistakably ghosted Jocelyn and then made fun of her wolf sweatshirt, crushing Joss and making her feel isolated and lonely. When the rafting trip takes a horrible turn and the girls are left alone in the woods, they face terrifying situations. Would you know what to do if a bear came upon you? How about wolves? These former BFFs turned frenemies have to brave the wilderness and depend on each other for survival, but their resentments are bubbling just below the surface. In Alone in the Woods by Rebecca Behrens. We're spending a lot of time in our homes right now. Can you imagine how scary it would be if you and your family had to suddenly leave your home for parts unknown? That's what happens to 3 families in 3 different time periods in the book Refugee by Alan Gratz. Refugee is unique because it's both historical fiction and contemporary realistic fiction. Chapters alternate telling the stories of 3 point-of-view characters in 3 different historical time frames, all of whom are forced to leave their homes with their families for the unknown. Joseph is the first point-of-view character. He and his family are trying to escape Nazi Germany in 1938. Even though Joseph is fictional, the ill-fated ship his family boards, the SS St. Louis, is real, and it's a part of World War II history that you may not know about. There are also first-person flashback descriptions of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. Isabel, our second point of view character, lives in Cuba in 1994. She and her family attempt to escape Cuba's oppressive Castro regime by crossing shark-infested waters on a makeshift raft, praying to reach Miami and begin a new life. And Mahmoud. Mahmoud is the third point of view character, and he lives in Aleppo, Syria in 2015. As you probably know, Syria is in the midst of a horrible civil war right now, and many Syrian families are currently fleeing their homes in search of safety. 3 stories, each packed with action, adventure, heartbreak, and hope, will make you look at home with new eyes. Refugee by Alan Gratz. This is My America by Kim Johnson. Alarm bells sound in my head. My stomach drops and I turn and see the tall grass flicking back and forth, the same motion the grass made when I waded through and found the crime scene path to the building. Someone is coming. A voice yells, "Stop!" I keep running until their words click together in my brain. "Police! Stop or I'll shoot!" My instincts say to flee. My brain says to stop. How did I get here? My family and I have struggled in the 7 years since my daddy was sentenced to death for a murder he didn't commit. Time is running out for an appeal, so every week I write a letter to the Innocence X Project begging them to take my father's case. At school, I want to be the editor of the school newspaper, and I've worked harder than anyone to earn the right. Still, nobody at the paper sees me as a team player. Angela, the current editor, secretly asked me to help her with an important expose. It seemed like an excellent way to prove myself at the paper, but instead has drawn me deep into the racist underbelly of our town as I expose secrets that people have killed to keep. My name is Tracy Beaumont, and this is My America. This is My America by Kim Johnson. The next book I'd like to tell you about is Masterminds by Gordon Korman. My name is Eli Frieden, and I live in the best place in the world, Serenity, New Mexico. In Serenity, there's no crime, no divorce, high test scores, and every house has a pool. It's even been voted #1 in the USA for standard of living. There's no poverty or unemployment because almost everyone in town works for the Serenity Plastic Works, one of the largest producers of orange traffic cones in the United States. I think this place is perfect. Or at least I did, until my best friend Randy Hardaway dared me to ride bikes to the outskirts of town. At first it was exciting. I'd never left town before. I also felt a little weird about it because I didn't tell my dad. I mean, it's not like I needed permission. I am 13 years old. But as we neared the Leaving Serenity sign, I started feeling sick. At first Randy laughed, thinking I was out of shape. But soon I was in agony, the pain unimaginable, blinded by a headache that lodged between my eyes like a glowing coal. I wasn't aware I was toppling off my bike until my chin struck the ground. Then we heard a whirring and felt warm air as a military-style helicopter whirred right above us. "Purple people eaters," Randy breathed, and sure enough, the surety, the security force of the Serenity Plastic Works that doubles as our town's police force, were upon us. I don't remember anything else until I woke up at the Serenity Health Center, my dad looking sternly at the foot of my bed. And ever since then, things just haven't been making sense. Randy is leaving Serenity. His parents claim he'll be visiting his grandparents, but something is definitely up. Also, why does an orange plastic traffic cone factory need a paramilitary organization? Something is afoul in Serenity, and my friends Malik, Amber, Tori, and Hector and I are determined to find out what. That's Masterminds by Gordon Korman. The last book I'd like to tell you about today is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. But first, the rules. The rules. 1, crying, don't. No matter what, don't. 2, snitching, don't. No matter what, don't. 3, revenge. If someone you love gets killed, find the person who killed them and kill them. One more thing about the rules. The rules weren't meant to be broken. The rules were meant for the broken to follow. Long Way Down is a poetic narrative in which 15-year-old Will takes a soul-searching elevator ride on his way to avenge the shooting death of his older brother, Sean. Will has Sean's gun tucked in his waistband, and as he descends, at each floor another person from his past enters the elevator and reveals more of Sean's story. Who killed Sean and why? And what awaits Will at the end of his ride? Lots of questions and difficult answers in Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. Did I say 6 books? Because I brought a bonus book and it's great for summer. Two Night Owl from Dogfish by Holly Goldberg Sloan and Meg Wolitzer. From Bette Devlin to Avery Bloom. Subject: You don't know me, but I am writing you anyway. This could maybe go in your spam folder. Maybe you're the kind of person that checks the spam. I don't. I found your email address online. You have a strange name. I have never met anyone named Avery, but that made it easier to find you. So, this is awkward, but I'm just going to say it. Your dad and my dad met 3 months ago in Chicago at a building expo. I'm not going to explain how I know this, but they are now a couple. That isn't my business, only it is my business because my dad wants to send me to a place called Siggy this summer. And guess what? You are supposed to go too. I am not going. It doesn't matter what my dad says, but maybe if you won't go to Siggy either, it will stop him from trying to force me to go. That's what I'm writing to you about. Bette Devlin. From Avery Bloom to Bette Devlin. Subject: You don't know me. I think you are confused and wrote the email to the wrong person. If my papa was in a relationship with your dad, there is a 100% chance I would know about it. You will never have to go to Siggy. I am the only one of us going there. Avery Bloom. P.S. I am 12 and live in New York City. Even though you sent your email to the wrong person, I am curious. How old are you and where are you writing from? Two Night Owl from Dogfish by Holly Goldberg Sloan and Meg Wolitzer is told from emails and texts between two girls, Bette and Avery, who live across the country from each other. They don't know each other, but their dads may be secretly dating. Not only that, but as Bette suspected, the dads want to send Bette and Avery to the same summer camp, Siggy, in hopes that they become friends. Bette does not want to go. Avery does want to go. In fact, she goes every year, but she does not want Bette to go. Will these two completely different girls be able to set their differences aside and work together to foil their dad's plans? Or will they become worse than friends? Sisters. Two Night Owl from Dogfish by Holly Goldberg Sloan and Meg Wolitzer. I hope you enjoyed hearing a bit about these books. Don't forget, it was The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Alone in the Woods by Rebecca Behrens, Refugee by Alan Gratz, This Is My America by Kim Johnson, Masterminds by Gordon Corman, Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, and our bonus book, Two Night Owl from Dogfish by Holly Goldberg Sloan and Meg Wolitzer. Bye-bye, Mrs. O's class.